Hey gang, back with another video for you today. I've got Joe here. We are going to do another house overview breakdown of 12 fragrances from the niche house of LFSGQUESTIONS. Are you guys familiar with LFSGQUESTIONS? Maybe you're not familiar with this house yet. They are just rolling out in the States. The fragrances are all created by Sonia Constant. If you're not familiar with who she is, she's a perfumer at GHIBLI. And she's done fragrances for Tom Ford like Ombre Leather Parfum, Noir Extreme Parfum. So if you like her taste, you're probably going to like the fragrances here. Find out all about LFSGQUESTIONS fragrances coming. This video's long already, but the original video that we planned to do was shot late last year. It just never ended up on YouTube because it just was a long video to edit. Since when we shot the video, Orchid K was launched, which is this right here. So this portion, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Orchid K, but the remainder of the video features 12 LFSGQUESTIONS fragrances, including Camelia K and Musky, which were launched in 2023 when I shot the video, which was shot at the end of last year. But that video, or that portion of the video, also features my favorite fragrance from this house, Poème de Sagano. It is an amazing, amazing fragrance, kind of reminding me of a mojito slash fruit smoothie or something. So absolutely delicious. But the brand has a lot of great fragrances. So watch the whole video. I shot it with Joe. And there's a lot of agreements and some disagreements between the fragrances. But LFSGQUESTIONS Orchid K was just launched, selling at Lucky Scent. I have it linked in the info box. And you'd think this is a traditional vanilla fragrance, because vanilla is an orchid, obviously. But it's not that, really. It is vanillic, but it's so different than a traditional vanilla fragrance. It's created by Sonia Constant, who is the perfumer for all of the fragrances for LFSGQUESTIONS. And in the video, we do mention some of the fragrances she's known for. Most importantly, Ombre Leather from Tom Ford, Noir Extreme and Noir Extreme Parfum being my favorite. So she's done a lot of fragrances. She works at GHIBLI. So this is another fragrance created by her. And Orchid K features Sequoia, Marshmallow, Ambrofix, Black Vanilla Orchid, Magnolia, Vanilla, Petitgrain, Oleander. So this is a vanilla fragrance unlike other vanilla fragrances out there, in that the vanilla, even though it's about vanilla, is kind of taking a back seat. It's not necessarily the star. There's a lot of things going on with it. They do have marshmallow or guimauve in this fragrance. Guimauve in French for marshmallow. And it's here giving me light reminders of Love Don't Be Shy, perhaps, because that does feature the marshmallow note in there as well. And it is also kind of vanillic. But that part is very, very faint. The Sequoia is a very unique woody note in here. It's got lots of floral touches. Of course, the black vanilla orchid is here. The Magnolia is in here. The Magnolia being such a wonderful note that kind of connects everything together, you know, because it's featuring the orchid and some of these other notes. That is a perfect note to add here. But the Petitgrain and Oleander come in as well. Petitgrain adding that kind of slight citrusy kind of bitterness in here. But what's really running the show for me is the Ambrofix. The Ambrofix just pretty much dominates here and tones down any vanillic touches this fragrance has. So I don't know if they planned out to do a vanilla fragrance. I mean, at least to me, this seems like it's a vanilla fragrance that's not necessarily very vanillic. But I'm just trying to see if they set out to do a fragrance like this, where they are making a vanilla fragrance that's not necessarily very vanillic. You do experience the vanilla, but this is not uber sweet. It's quite powdery, it's quite woody and floral and musky from the Ambrofix as well. You'll be reminded of Ambroxan with Ambrofix. It does have those kind of ambery, musky, woody, dusty, dry qualities. And the fragrance to me also wears quite dry. If you're into the idea of fragrances like Vanilla Powder from Matière Première, Vanille Supermassive from Les Eaux Primordiales, these vanilla fragrances that are not necessarily sweet and gooey, because this is definitely not gooey, then this is definitely a vanilla fragrance I think you should check out. Because even though it's vanilla, it's kind of hinting at it here with the name. It's not called vanilla, but it's Orchid K. I think the vanilla takes a back seat, and it's not necessarily the star here. It's a nice fusion combination of all of the notes together, and pretty much run by the Sequoia, the Ambrofix, and the Marshmallow touches in here. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Ella K's Orchid K that just launched recently. Again, as I said, there's a link to Lucky Scent in the info box. You can find this or any of the other fragrances that we speak about. I don't think all 12 fragrances that we talk about in the other portion will be found at Lucky Scent, but the majority of them will be there. But definitely Orchid K is there, and my favorite, Poème de Sagano, Camelia K, Musky. But watch the whole video and find out what my top 7 fragrances are from the house of Ella K. But either way, those are my thoughts on Orchid K from Ella K. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about Ella K fragrances today. And I first discovered Ella K back in 2019. Instantly fell in love with one of them. It wasn't until 2022 that I bought a bottle of the fragrance that I fell in love with, because I couldn't go back to Europe to experience Ella K fragrances during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But I bought a bottle of Poème de Sagano. It's one of my favorite fragrances from this house. It's super delicious. We'll get to that when it's time for that fragrance. We're actually going to talk about them in alphabetical order. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do a ranking. So what do you think about this line?
I think the line is fantastic. There are a few standouts, as usually is with a lot of houses. It's very seldom that you get a house that just has all masterpieces or all bad fragrances. Sometimes it's a mix. But yeah, really good house. There are definitely some similarities to other fragrances that I've smelled in the past. And it could be because of the Tom Ford connection. Little hint, hint. But they're very good. They're well crafted, and I enjoy them.
Yeah. So I've already done a video on Ella K fragrances before. We did a video on 3 fragrances: Poème de Sagano, Camelia K, and Letter to Pushkar. If you want to find out about what I thought about those fragrances in that video, you can go catch that. And we're going to go ahead and get started with a 2023 launch.
All right.
There's 2 2023 launch fragrances. This is Camelia K. This one right here in a nice, beautiful blood red bottle, holiday Christmas-like bottle too.
Quite nice.
It's orange blossom, jasmine, camellia, dragon fruit, tonka beans, ginger, vanilla, rose, patchouli, and vetiver. So when you smell this one, there is a hint of something like other fragrances in here, but eventually it develops into smelling original. But there's that reminder of something that's been done before.
Yeah, it was that the Parfums de Marly scent that we were speaking about.
Yes, it reminds of Meliora. So if you're familiar with Meliora, you can probably get that. But for me, this one does change because it does have the camellia. And for me, this is also very succulent. There's definitely a very succulent quality about it. I really love that about this fragrance. It's juicy.
Yeah,
it's fruity. It's floral. Very, very warm weather fragrance.
Yeah. Really good fruity floral. I don't usually go for fruity florals, but in this case, I enjoy it. And yeah, like we were mentioning before, it does have similarities to Meliora from Parfums de Marly, but as we also stated, it does dry down and it does go on its own course. And
yeah,
it's a nice fragrance.
It is nice. It is nice. And also with the dry down, you do get some nice patchouli pop through. And that's kind of what I like about this one. And I don't remember it in Meliora. So vetiver, vanilla, patchouli combo in the dry down is quite nice when it's all fruity, floral up top. Definitely, I think it's a great release. A feminine release for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think the whole line seems a bit feminine, don't you think?
Yeah, I would agree to that. For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got a fragrance called Cri du Kalahari, this one right here. And this is a fragrance launched in 2019. So I sampled the entire line in 2019 at Javoy in Paris. And as I said, Poème de Sagano stood out for me. This one did not stand out for me, but it has green pepper, sandalwood, cedarwood, and patchouli. And unfortunately, this one is not one of the most exciting ones, one of the most unique ones for me. So this is not necessarily one of my favorites.
I agree.
What are your thoughts?
Initially, I enjoyed this one until I smelled the rest of the collection, and then a few other ones kind of took its place and popped out a bit more. But it's like a mixture of creamy and spicy and smoky, and it's a bit odd for my taste. Maybe it's the green pepper. I'm not too sure, but
I don't know what it is about this with me, but I wanted the patchouli to stand out more. And for me, it's basically non-distinct woods mostly, with a little bit of earthiness thrown in with the patchouli. And the green pepper, I wasn't really experiencing it. For me, it's more about the sandalwood and cedarwood, and in this case, more cedarwood than sandalwood. I don't even get that creamy effect of the sandalwood in this.
It's a pretty basic fragrance, I feel
I
like.
feel like, yeah. Yeah, it's not complex.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up, we've got a fragrance called GHIBLI from 2021. This is a fragrance that came out after I discovered the line. Until last year, I didn't really rediscover the brand. But this one didn't stand out for me either, but I like the idea of this fragrance a little more than the way the fragrance smelled. It's leather, nougat, and jasmine, and I wanted some more nougat to come through, and I like the idea of mixing kind of gourmand notes with leather. And even though it's not a bad fragrance, once again, it's a bit underwhelming for me with this one. What do you think?
I did not really get the nougat either. I got mostly leather. That was pretty much like...
Is it animalic for you?
It wasn't necessarily animalic. It was just more so like, first and foremost, it was leather, but it was a pretty wearable leather in my opinion. I think it would have been cool. I mean, I'm not a perfumer, so what do I really have to say? But I think it would be cool if the jasmine was a little bit more pronounced and it was a bit more floral. And maybe even if it was like a funky jasmine, that could have been interesting. That
would have made it a lot more daring for me.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, maybe the last two fragrances that we've spoken about, GHIBLI and the Kalahari, are a bit underwhelming because I don't know if it's because they're only reporting 3 notes for the fragrances, but they just don't go much anywhere. The last one had 4 notes. This one has 3.
Yeah.
And I wanted some more excitement, and it just doesn't do it for me.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next fragrance is called Harmattan, this one right here. So this one to me is pretty exciting. And I think this is a trilogy with the leather fragrances, because all of these fragrances that we're talking about are leather. And for me, Harmattan was a little more interesting than GHIBLI. What do you think?
I agree. I think taking a fresher stance on leather is always a bit more exciting, just because leather is commonly just such a heavy, dark, warm, or cold weather note.
The geranium in this is super, super fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of the geranium and geranium odorata from Diptyque. And mixed with the leather, I think it's a fantastic release.
Yeah.
Herbal, fresh, spicy, woody, aromatic. You're getting some rosy nuances from the geranium as well. A little bit of mintiness as well there. And the leather, that's one of my favorite fragrances from this house.
I think it's a really good fragrance. And again, it's just a different take on leather that isn't often done. So anytime somebody tries something new like that, it's going to catch my nose a little bit more. And it has in this case.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you like that one?
I do like that one. It's good.
Okay. All right. Another leather. Wait, another leather.
Another.
We've got a fragrance called Khamsin. All 3 of these have come out in 2021. This is Leather Dates Orange Blossom. And there is a major familiarity about this one. Major.
Big time.
Hint, hint, ombre leather.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone? So she created ombre leather. Sonia Constant, who does the fragrances for LK, has created ombre leather. And this one does remind me of ombre leather, very much so. The notes are a bit changed around. There's no dates in the ombre leather. I don't even think there's orange blossom. There's jasmine, and there's a raspberry effect, and this one's giving us a fruity effect as well.
Definitely. And the one takeaway I would have on this one is that ombre leather, kind of, for me at least, it goes a bit more suede-y, almost like a fabric-y leather. It's a little bit softer. This is a bit more leather, but really, really close to ombre leather, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm getting fabric leather on this one as well.
Oh, really?
I feel like she's using saffron, and whenever she uses saffron, or whoever uses saffron, I get a fabric effect in leather, and definitely reminding me of more fabric leather rather than something like Cuir de Russie from Chanel, which is all very burned, smoky, birchy kind of leather. What do you think? Maybe our noses are picking up different things.
Either that, or I'm going nose blind with the numerous fragrances in this house. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's drawing. I'm just trying to figure out the differences between this and ombre leather, which I kind of have to get out of that mindset, because this is its own fragrance. Ombre leather is its own fragrance. I got to realize that. But I think the leather in it is, for me personally, it's a little bit more leather as opposed to that ombre leather being fabricy, because ombre leather is definitely fabricy. I do see what you're saying, but I think it's just like a little bit more leathery. That's just my nose, though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we don't have to agree on everything.
We don't have the same nose. We agree on a lot of stuff, but some stuff we don't.
I think it's a great fragrance. Unfortunately,
yeah,
not one of my favorites for this, because I already know ombre leather.
Mm-hmm.
So either
That's
way.
totally fair.
And the next fragrance I'm talking about is Letter to Pushkar. This one right here. This one was featured in my previous video for LK fragrances. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's from 2017. Rose, saffron, oud, nutmeg, cinnamon, vetiver, patchouli, and amber. This one's a nice.
I enjoy this one.
Really nice, delicious, warm, sweet, rosy amber. With a bit of a leather in there as well, because we've got saffron in this.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really pick up on the oud too much, I will say.
It's in the background. I think it's not necessarily like the star note of this.
Yeah. It's not really like a rose oud. It's kind of like rose leather. I believe the rose pairs more with the saffron as opposed to opposing with the, or going together with the oud. But
that's really good.
No, it's nice.
This is really good. Really puts me in this really cold setting.
Yeah.
And being covered with very warm clothes,
yeah,
and coats and fur.
Oh yeah.
Not that I wear fur, but
yeah, but
that comes to mind.
Did, yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, but no, I totally get it. That cinnamon and nutmeg offers that like warm, spicy, just like bundled up feeling.
Yeah,
which is really nice.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then next, the seventh fragrance we're talking about is Melody del Altai. This one right here. And this one is another leather-focused fragrance. Leather, amber, styrax, saffron, vetiver, and patchouli, but so good.
So good. Yeah.
Leather and amber together work really wonderfully.
They do.
I think they did a great job here. Smells delicious. The styrax, the saffron. I think these are key notes that Sonia Constant keeps using. Leather, amber, styrax, saffron.
Yeah.
The patchouli in there as well. It's powdery, warm, sweet, leathery.
It definitely is an enveloping fragrance. It is going to, it's going to cuddle you up a little bit. It's not going to be close to the skin, I don't believe, but it is definitely going to be a cuddly fragrance. And it's going to just, it's going to keep you warm in those colder months. It's really, really nice. It's a pleasant scent to experience. And if you're in the market for anything leather out of this whole house, I would say this is going to be up there for sure.
This is ranked pretty high for me.
Yeah, because they do have a lot of leathers, and it could be a little daunting when you look at the house and you see all these like leather fragrances. But if you want a little bit of direction, I think this is definitely a good one to start off with.
It's a good leather, plus it has great amber. It's sweet, powdery, resinous.
Mm-hmm.
Number.
Yeah.
No. I shouldn't say. I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say number one, but it's not my number one.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah. All right. The eighth fragrance we're talking about is Memoir de Dyson In. This one right here. So this to me is very familiar. Very, very familiar. It has a very familiar smell. It's rose, peony, tea, plums, tangerines, bergamot, kumquat, lime, white musk, ambroxan, ISOE super, hedione, violets, benzoin, nutmeg, vanilla. So much going on here.
Whole lot.
But to me, the fragrance wears much more simplistic. It does have a reminder of Fleur Narcotique from the house of Ex Nihilo, also Delina from the house of Parfums de Marly. So it's in that same ballpark of fragrances. What do you think?
It's a clean, fruity floral, but it's also, I mean, there is a citrusiness to it. I think it's more
Very
citrusy than Delina is.
You're right.
Delina is definitely on the sweeter, almost more gourmand side of white floral.
It also has that weird milkiness in there.
It does have a bit of a creaminess,
which this one doesn't. This is more fresh.
Yeah, this is a fresher Delina. Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, sort of, but it's nice. It also has a woodiness. The woodiness does come through. That ISOE Super is definitely helping out with that, and the ambroxan is just like a good base for everything to kind of play off of.
I agree.
It's a very well done fragrance for sure.
It is very well done. It's not one of my favorites because I prefer some of the other ones, but anybody looking for like a Delina or Fleur Narcotique type fragrance, fruity floral, bomb, that's definitely gonna be a popular one.
Yeah, it's a safe fragrance too. A lot of people are gonna love that one.
Yeah, definitely. And also wear it in the summertime rather than the winter time, unless you want some uplifting vibes in the gloom of winter.
In the darkness of winter.
Yeah. All right, the ninth fragrance is the latest fragrance from the house of Ella K. It's Musk K. This one right here in the white bottle totally is exactly what you're going to wear when you spray this stuff on. It's white. Yeah. Very pure. This is white musk, sand lily, white pepper, salty iris, mangrove, driftwood, vetiver, ambrofix, and cedar. Oh, man. It's so beautiful. Really clean musk. And even though we got salty iris and driftwood kind of for a marine aquatic thing, totally doable. Really love that about it.
Again, we talk about it quite often, but marine notes don't really play well with our nostrils. And again, you find a fragrance that has marine notes and kind of a aquatic vibe, and you actually like it, you're gonna be drawn to that if you don't typically like those notes, and that's what's happening here. But really good. I've mentioned it before, like with a bedtime scent, really good bedtime scent, really good clean one. If you want to just feel uplifted and clean, you could just spritz this on as well. Really, really good, just baseline, just solid musk.
Totally.
Yeah.
The couple of things about this one also. There's definitely a laundry clean soapiness about it, which totally is prominent there because it's so clean. And white musk to me goes soapy clean all the time, and that's pretty much what you have there. Also, I think that would be a great fragrance to layer with.
Yeah.
You can use that as a base note, layer down the musk, and spray something else on top of it. It might blend a little bit to create something a little more interesting than what you're wearing, or just to boost up the other fragrance. So
for sure,
that's definitely a winner for me. One of my favorites from the house.
I
even
agree.
though it's very clean and pure, it's not like substantial. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. It's very simple, but in what it does it well. Yeah.
And then the 10th fragrance we're talking about is Pluie sur Halong. I think that's how you say it.
I think you nailed it. So
did I?
Yeah. If he did get it wrong, I got it wrong too. I'm going down with the ship on this one.
So this one is really nice and watery. If you like the idea of watery fragrances, not marine, more water, like liquid, that's the kind of fragrance you would wear. We've got lotus flower, which is watery, water lily, which is watery, and magnolia is also a little bit like that as well. In addition to those notes, we've got white musk, nashi pear, rhubarb, neroli, cyclamen, rose, and pink pepper. It wears like you're wearing watered flowers.
Yeah, I think it's really good for warm weather. It would come alive. It would just radiate for sure in any sort of a hot climate. Given the fact this is wintertime and it is a little bit colder out, it's not necessarily something I'd reach for, but I can totally see once it does go into those warmer months, this is something that would be really nice. The pear is really good in it. I've smelled certain fragrances that attempt to utilize pear and it comes off very synthetic to me. This isn't over the top pear like in your face, but it's a really good supporting note that they utilize to add a little fruity sweetness.
Yeah, I think the pear complements the other notes. Like for me, pear is not very substantial, just like magnolia, not very substantial in the smell of fragrance from those, flowers and fruits. So it really works well together. It also contributes to the wateriness because you're having this ripe, fruity pear note that comes in. I'm envisioning a pond in springtime with water lilies bloomed and, fruit trees nearby where you can pick up all of these notes and aromas together. It's a nice one. It sets a mood for sure.
Yeah, totally. It paints a picture without a doubt. Yeah.
All right. The next fragrance we're talking about is the fragrance I first fell in love with from this house back in 2019, and I didn't buy until last year. It's Poème de Sagano, this one right here. This one's super delicious, amazing. I know so many people that love this one. This was launched in 2018. Features notes of bamboo, grapefruit, yuzu, mint, matcha green tea, bergamot, and eucalyptus. What do you get with this one?
It's great. I have not smelled bamboo in a fragrance before, and I don't think that's me being just uncultured in the world of perfumery, but it's different. And it's also, the eucalyptus comes through. It kind of reminds me of like a luxury spa sort of. I sort of get that, and it's clean, that camphor effect. It kind of just like aerates everything and it kind of cleans everything out. You feel fresh, you feel invigorated. It's lovely. Yeah.
Do you get mojito with this?
Yeah, actually, I totally do.
But you know what I get with this one more? Is going to a Jamba Juice and the fruits that are in there and the aromatics that are all mixed in the air. There's a major fruitiness about it.
There is. Yeah, it definitely is in there. It's probably from that yuzu. That yuzu is often, it goes in as like a sweeter citrusy direction. And at least for my nose, it does. And really nice.
It's really good. It reminds me of a health juice bar for sure. Like all of those ingredients, they are kind of like a juice, like a smoothie.
If any of you folks out there are health influencers or food influencers and you're looking for a good fragrance, that could be the one for you.
Definitely.
For sure.
And then we have one last fragrance left. I know there's a lot in this house. This is Reflet sur Locovango. Okay, that's the last one here. It's amarula liquor, papyrus, acacia flower, woolly caper, iris, tonka beans, honey, sycamore, mopane.
It's a lot. What is mopane, may I ask? Do you know?
I did, and I totally spaced on that.
Oh, shoot.
It is an ingredient. It's another word for an ingredient that.
Gotcha. I feel like I've seen it before, but it's one of those notes that just kind of drifts by, and I don't really look into it too often.
I will add a text and say what it is. But this one's actually really quite nice, especially the fact that it has Amarula liquor. I've actually had it. It's so delicious. I discovered it on a Virgin Atlantic airline.
Oh, really?
They served it, and I was like, this stuff is so delicious. And here they have it in this fragrance. This is quite nice.
I enjoy this. Yeah. It got that creamy aspect, and it has that liqueur aspect, and it's just... I haven't really smelled anything like this before.
It's a bit gourmand-esque and also yellow floral. The acacia flower, which is basically mimosa flower, is prominent here. That contributes to a bit of almondiness, and they throw in honey in this fragrance as well. And Amarula liquor has that sweetness that honey has. And the fact that acacia flower gives off honeyed accords, it's very sweet in this fragrance.
It is sweet, yeah. It's sweet, yet not sickly, I don't think. I don't think it's going to be...
Oh, no, it's not sickly.
I don't think it'll be jarring to noses, but it's a very pleasant... I'm going to use the word pleasant again, but it's a very pleasant fragrance that not many people are going to be offended by.
No.
It's really lovely.
No, definitely kind of gourmandesque. I think anybody that's into those kind of fragrances will be happy. If you like fragrances like Wajan and things like that, I think you might like this one. Even something like Bee. Yeah. But Bee does get sweeter. This one's not as sweet, but powdery, sweet, and yellow floral.
Still almost has a freshness in there too.
Like there's definitely a freshness in there. Yes,
a bit of a freshness for sure probably from the florals. I'm assuming. Yeah,
definitely.
It's a good fragrance.
Yeah, that's the last fragrance from this house. So we are ranking the fragrances, and we're only going to do a top 7. We're not going to rank all of them because there's way too many fragrances here. And my number 7 is Camelia K. Camelia K is a beautiful, gorgeous, fruity floral combination that does reminisce of other fragrances out there that are fruity floral, but eventually the Camelia takes over and develops into something unique. I like it. It's feminine, but definitely perfect for warm weather wear. Yeah. Yeah, this is really nice.
This one was very close to making my top 7. This was going to be at number 8, and it could have been interchanged with my number 7. But personally, I think Lettre de Pushkar, this one deserved its spot in the top 7. I think it deserves a recognition. The reason I have it so low is just because typically when I experience anything rose and kind of a warm spicy, I want it to be even a bit more sweet. This one has sweetness, but I kind of want it to be a little bit sweeter, and it's just very picky on my part. But all in all, the way all the notes combine together, the rose, saffron, oud, all that stuff, and the spices, it's very, very nice. It's holiday-esque, and I think it's lovely. I think I could have placed it higher, but it's at number 7 for now.
I've got it higher.
Yeah, that's fair.
So for me, my number 6 is Musk K. Really, really nicely done. Simplistic fragrance, very clean, laundry-like, has the marine touches, which I can totally tolerate, enough to make it on this list here in the top 7. And again, you can also use it to as a booster or a primer for other fragrances. Wear it on its own for a skin scent, a musky, clean skin scent. I think she did a great job with it.
It's really good. Yeah. I have that one
higher.
Yeah. You'll see. Keep watching.
Okay.
My number 6 was, don't get on me for the butchering of this pronunciation, Pluie sur Halong.
I don't have that one listed here.
No?
No, I did not pick that one.
Okay, well, this one I actually enjoyed, and I think it was that wateriness coming from it.
You don't like marine aquatic. No, you don't like marine.
I don't like marine.
But you like aquatic.
I like aquatic, not marine. Okay. This one was quite nice for me. It was an uplifting fragrance. It was just, I think I mentioned the word pleasant when we reviewed it earlier in the video, but it's a very pleasant, easy to get along with fragrance with the florals and a little bit of fruitiness. The pear was really nice, and kind of how Sebastian said, it painted a picture. I got that experience from this fragrance, and for that reason I have it at number 6.
Yeah. It's a good one. Might have ended up at number 8 for me.
Okay.
But my number 5 is Reflet sur le Cavango. I'm having a hard time. Le Cavango. This is a fun fragrance. It's a kind of gourmandesque, especially because of the amarula liqueur, and then also the very yellow floral touches of the acacia flower. It's really, really delicious and nicely done. It's ambery, it's fruity. No, not fruity. No, it's not fruity. It's floral and just a very delicious fragrance. I like the fact that they're using the amarula liquor in here. and a drink that I've had and enjoyed. So I think she did a great job with that one.
I agree.
Sir Locavango.
Sir Locavango. And
you're doing so much better than Sir Locavango.
Sir Locavango.
Okay.
Just roll off the tongue.
It's actually Reflet Sir Locavango.
Yeah, I have the Sir Locavango part. I haven't tried putting the Reflet in yet.
But this one is supposed to be Africa based.
You get that? I don't know if I get that too much from
Amarula liquor has that elephant on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I think this is Africa based.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Amarula liquor, so that makes.
Gotta try some.
Yeah, eventually I will. But that sounds. I mean, it sounds like it makes sense then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My number 5. We're gonna go to Musky, and so just one up above from Sebastian's ranking on this one. Everything he said about it, how it's a really good layering tool, also could be a good bedtime scent. It's a versatile fragrance. You could really get away with wearing this in a multitude of situations, which I really enjoy about it. Definitely clean, definitely a bit detergent like, in a really good way though. don't expect like cheap laundry detergent scent. It's not that, but it's a really clean musk that is going to go well with a lot of fragrances in your repertoire. If you feel like one fragrance hasn't been doing it for you lately, try throwing this on and then put your fragrance on top.
Yeah.
See if it does anything.
I think it'll be perfect for that.
I agree.
Personally. I'm going with Harmattan for number 4. And Harmattan was one of the leathers from this house, but it was done with aromatic notes of geranium. And it provided that kind of a geranium odorata effect with the addition of the leather. I don't know if you guys know geranium odorata. It's a really great geranium fragrance from Diptyque, one of the best. And it's basically paying tribute to the geranium note. Wonderful, wonderful offering with its rosiness and also its mintiness. And here you've got that, but you've got the leather. The leather's not animalic at all. So it turns it into this very aromatic leather experience with some greenness in there and herbal touches. Really wonderful.
And funny enough, actually, after smelling this one a bit more and actually diving into it a bit more, I could actually put this in my top 7. I just want to mention that. I didn't, but I think it's a really interesting take on leather. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, it's not too often you see that fresh component going along with leather, which I actually enjoy thoroughly.
But I don't mean to interrupt you, but Harmattan is unique. I've never experienced a leather like that. And I did not pick Khamsin in my top 7 because she's already done ombre leather and it reminds me too much of ombre leather. Whereas this one, Harmattan, was so unique in that geranium and leather together. Never experienced it. Yeah, but it works.
I'm gonna contradict what you just said. I have Khamsin at number 4.
Oh no!
I am.
It's fine.
I'm a huge fan of ombre leather. I love it. The scent profile I think was just great, and smelling it again, I had to put it in the top 7. Although, again, I could have probably put this one with kind of interchanged it with Harmattan maybe, based off the fact that ombre leather's already been done. I think Khamsin is just a great scent profile. I can't rank it low because it smells good.
It's a great, I love ombre leather. I think it's a great leather fragrance, and she did a great job with it. It's very successful. They've come out with flankers, and
for sure.
I hear that there's going to be a eau de toilette version of ombre leather from somewhere.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, if they're going to crank out flankers for it, then obviously it's making them a lot of money to keep creating flankers.
I think it's just a good scent profile that you can't really go wrong with if you're looking for an entry level leather that's not going to be too scary, if you will.
It's not animalic for me.
It's not. No, it's just a really good fragrance. So that's why I have Khamsin at number 4.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So my number 3 is Letter to Pushkar, a fragrance that I reviewed with the original video I did on LK fragrances. Really fell in love with the amber and also the roses in it. There's a rosy touch with that amber. And I'm discovering a lot of ambers with roses are kind of appealing to me lately. But this one also has a bit of a tea effect, and there's saffron in it to give you that kind of saffron-y, fabric-y leather touch in that fragrance as well. So all together really works wonderfully together. I remember Joe said you wanted some more sweetness?
A little bit more sweetness. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sometimes the sweetness is better, but I felt like it would have been really sugary if it went a little sweeter. And all the notes in that fragrance were working wonderfully together. I liked it. And it puts me in a setting too. Yeah. Somewhere very cold. What's that movie? The famous movie in Russia that takes place in Russia with
Oh man.
Dr. Zhivago.
Okay.
Anyway, it puts me in that kind of a setting during the really cold months. Anyway,
I can see it. No, totally. And I really enjoyed that fragrance. But for me, my number 3 was Riflexor Locavanga.
Oh, okay.
Locovango. There we go. That one has been tricky.
Riflexor Locovango.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was a great mix of just creamy, floral, had the powdery aspects from the iris. I love Tonka being in fragrance, and it definitely supported it with that sweetness that it needed. I don't usually, however, enjoy honey in fragrances, but
You don't?
No, I actually don't like honey too much.
Bee?
It's good, and that's definitely honey, so I'm contradicting myself, but typically I found with other very honeyed fragrances, I don't always like that as a sweetness component. I like my vanillas and I like my Tonka.
Have you smelled tobacco honey?
Oh, that one's too sweet. That's too honey for me.
Too honey? Okay.
I think it's a bit too honey.
Okay.
And I know you enjoy that fragrance. I know
No,
you love
I
it.
do love that one.
I know. But yeah, Riflexor Locovango, that one earned 3 just based off of its floral, creamy powderiness, and the sweetness worked for me. The honey works.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 2 is Melody de l'Altai. Wonderful, wonderful amber with leather. The combination is great, very intoxicating, really long lasting as well, because it not only has the ambery, resinous, balsamic notes, you've got that leather in there as well. And it seems like Sonia Constant loves to work with leather. She is the leather girl.
She is.
Hey, she created ombre leather.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is going into the amber direction with leather, I absolutely love it. I'm eating this one up really a lot. So it's my number 2 favorite next to number 1, which you probably already know.
Probably. And we agree on this one.
Oh, you like this one too?
Love it. Melody de l'Altai. Just a really, really good fragrance. It just kind of hits on all the facets that I want from a leather fragrance. That saffron in there is offering that fabricy accord. And the patchouli is slightly there. I kind of get it at the bottom, like a slight medicinal aspect from the patchouli, but it's not too much. I'm a fan of patchouli, so maybe if it upped the patchouli.
You're a fan of patchouli.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And he loves his patchouli. You made a full video on patchoulis, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
I think I watched that one. That one that just shows your love for the note of patchouli.
I've done more than one video on patchouli.
Oh, have you?
Oh God, yes.
Oh, I gotta research that more.
Tons of videos
with the patchouli master here. But yeah, this fragrance, whatever they did to it, it works. Yeah. And really, really good leather, like you said.
Seems leather and amber, great combo.
A really good combo, and Constantine, she just knows her leathers. She does a lot of them, and they're good.
She likes working with them.
They're really good, and she knows how to work with them.
But the other thing I should say is none of the leathers that are here seemed overly animalic, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the kind of leathers that are like the old school leathers, like Chanel's Citrusy, which can go animalic. These are very wearable leathers.
Very palatable leathers for sure.
Yeah. And my number 1 is Poème de Sagano. Hands down, the best release from this house. So original, so green, so juicy, so pulpy, succulent, delicious. This is so good. It's like so fruit. It's a juice bar come alive.
Yeah.
With all of the herbs, aromatics, fruits kind of hitting your face and clearing your nose up with all that wonderful smell. So good.
I don't know if I could say it better. And that's my number 1 as well. It's, again, that bamboo note is just, it's so different and it's so not common in perfumery. And when they throw it in there along with that eucalyptus and mint, I got that kind of spa-like effect. But juice bar, just healthy juice cleanse vibes, just really, really an interesting take in perfumery. And it was executed to a T. It was so well done.
So well done.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the list, guys. Our top 7s. We agree on some. We don't agree on others. Yeah. But thanks so much for watching this very long video on the fragrances of LK. They are currently selling at Lucky Scent, so hopefully other retailers in the States will pick it up. But they're definitely sold worldwide at various perfume shops here and there. So let us know if you've discovered this house. Put a comment down below. And what are your favorite fragrances from LK? Would like to find out. And thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.